we haven't seen you for a long time.
Oh,
Glad you look fine.
yeah, I hope so. That's right. Yeah, ciao.
From Japan.
So how is life in Japan?
Yeah, everything fine. Thank you.
Now it's done. We can start. As you know, we are recording this presentation, so it will be available on our webpage afterwards. So if you are so kind to mute your microphones other than Gustav, that would be lovely.
Second, we go through the competitors per segment and geographical area. The main focus is the prioritized segment. So bus, mining and tunneling, material handling and trucks. We go through the pros and cons with each main competitor, and hopefully we have time to go through the new and upcoming competitors as well, or some of them, I should say. So we did send out a questionnaire in October. We got 15 answers from 190 respondents. So please, if you didn't receive it, please check your spam folders and adjust so you will receive it in the future, because it's very good input for us to get this feedback. And in the questionnaire, we asked 2 questions. What companies are your most challenging competitors today? And what companies do you see as your most challenging competitors within 2 to 5 years? And the result was this. The blue line is question number 1. Most challenging competitor today. The orange one is challenger tomorrow, or within 2 to 5 years. So as you see, Dafo is ranked the highest and also considered the most challenging competitors within 2 to 5 years, which is quite interesting. And we will talk about it a little more later on. So moving ahead to the main competitors for bus segments. And this info is from partly internal meetings and discussions with our key accounts, also information from you, and yeah, what we believe or what we see at fairs and customers and so on. So in no particular order, Dafo is of course one of our main competitors for buses. They are spread worldwide, more or less. They can pop up basically anywhere. They follow their customers the same as we do, and they are they've been doing this for a long time, and they have a quite good reseller network as well. We also have Rotarex, their compact line system. According to their website, there are resellers worldwide except for Africa, and we see them pop up now and then. Quite aggressive prices sometimes. And third one, Kidde, with their dry chemical powder, mainly in North America, some in Europe as well. But I have not heard from any other parts of the world.
Comment here. They are taking part mostly in Melbourne area, but also in New South Wales in Australia since the banning of PFAS.
Good input. Australia, of course. And we see a lot of newcomers here, I think mainly because of the R107 regulations, but we hear that Protec Fire, Firedect, and some aerosol suppliers are popping up and are sometimes quite aggressive and low price. And we will go through these manufacturers' system later on. And as you will see, we basically have the same competitors for mining and tunneling segment as well. We have DAFO, especially in Sweden. We have Ansel worldwide as well. A quite interesting thing is that Ansel now promotes their liquid system and will not promote their powder system anymore for vehicles. And I think the main reason for this is the risk of reignition, 5 years, something we have been claiming for many years. And KID as well. They have their chemical powder, but they also have wet chemical, which might be increasing in the same way as Ansel. We don't know yet. And I also put Sandvik on the list. They have their own system, which we bump into now and then. A foam system, liquid system. Moving on to material handling, DAFO, of course, Ansel as well, and KID. So basically same as mining and tunneling. And we also have Egon Harig on Liebherr. They use aerosols, and I am not a fan of aerosols, but they do have a quite good detection system, which is interesting. And the last prioritized segment for us is trucks. And we don't see any competition here yet. It's a virgin market almost. We do see some DAFO for mining trucks in Sweden, but very little so far. And we do know that there is work being done in the UN group for ADR, dangerous transport of dangerous goods, where they want to incorporate requirements for fire suppression systems on some classes of ADR trucks in the future. So the suggestion right now, which came in yesterday, was that fire suppression system will be possible from 2023 and a demand at 2029. So they have 6 years ranked the highest, and all preparation, yeah. So they can design the new truck model sometime in between. So we are following this very closely because it's very high numbers, high volumes. The numbers of ADR trucks in Europe is almost the same as buses. It's interesting. We did a internal meeting with the key accounts and tried to guess the segment share, and this is the result for each segment we have. So as you can see, DAFO at the top, Ansel second, Hogmaker third, sorry, and KID on fourth place. And if you have any input on this, please send me an email or contact me by phone or something, because it's very difficult to find data on this, since there isn't any formal data available. So moving on to pros and cons with the main competitors, starting with DAFO, the Forex system. You probably know this, most of you. The system uses a linear heat detection wire, melting cable, or a twisted wire. They use the liquid-based agent, the DAFO 4X from DAFO Foamtech. They have sizes from 5 liters up to 25 liters, so bigger systems than we do. They also have a Novec solution now, which is available for smaller compartments, similar to FogMakers. How it works? So the fire is detected. When the fire is detected, a Metron charge, same as FogMaker use actually, electrically activate and puncture a membrane in the smaller gas bottle, which you see here. And the gas is led through a hydraulic hose to the main agent tank, which is pressureless normally and will be pressurized when it needs to. So the fluid is then discharged through the pipe system and the nozzles. Normal emptying time, or normal, we have seen emptying times around 10 seconds, 10-15, so they are generally faster to empty than FogMaker. And some pros and cons. The pros are basically input for FogMaker, what we can do better. And the cons is input for you. So you will have the tools or the comments to discuss with the customer what is less good with the DAFO 4X system, for example, compared to FogMaker. So starting with the pros, they do have R107, SPCR 183 or PMark, the Swedish SPF 127 and 128 approval. They are working to get FM, same as we do, but not approved yet, as far as I know. They use water-based agent, foam, with 10 years lifetime. They have big containers, up to 25 liters, and now also a CO, carbon monoxide detector for battery packs. And I'm guessing, or what we see, they got a high score on the questionnaire. They are marketing solutions for electric vehicles and batteries quite aggressively. The drawbacks or the cons, they need electricity to work. They are quite difficult to service if you should do it by the book. Since the agent tank doesn't have any gauge, you should remove it from the vehicle and weigh it to make sure you have the correct amount of liquid in it. This should be done yearly. And also, in some cases, we have heard that the piston has wandered in the cylinder. So you order a DAFO of the piston with a stick to make sure it's at the bottom. Questionable performance. The short emptying time, around 10 seconds, doesn't give any or as good cooling as FogMaker. We have seen this at the PMark where they get reignition, for example. They also have much bigger droplets, which smaller droplets are more effective for cooling down hot compartments or surfaces. And the new CO detector, in order to be able to use that, you need access to the battery pack. And this is difficult to get an approval from the battery pack manufacturer to open up the battery pack, install different components and close it up again. I think that's very difficult. So I'm afraid this is a paper product. So moving on to the next DAFO system, the DAFO Vulcan. Similar in some ways, different in others. They use the same detection, same liquid. As far as I know, they have sizes 10 liter and 12.5 liter available. But they could make different sizes as well. So the detection works the same way. When fire is detected, a gas generator in the bottom of the agent tank is activated. You can see it here. And this creates a pressure that drives the piston and ejects the liquid from the tank. Quite simple. And pros and cons with this system. They have the approvals, same as the Forex. Same liquid, 10-year lifetime. Low maintenance compared to the Forex system. But the drawbacks, this is a one-shot system. Once it's activated, it's scrap. You need to replace it. The reason for this is the gases are quite aggressive, so it will or can damage the inside. And yeah, it's a one-shot system. Also needs electricity. So moving on to Ansul, the Ansul LVS liquid system.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
This is Fausto from Ofira. Can you go back to the AFO game, please?
Yeah.
Well, do you have the impression that Vulcan will replace the previous technology? Because Vulcan is the recent technology, correct?
Yes, correct. I don't think so. I haven't seen much Vulcan on the market.
Because here in Italy, let's say the DAFO distributor is promoting this technology as the new technology with several advantages. And I think that we have seen for the first time talking about 10 years lifetime of a DAFO system when they have introduced this technology, not with the previous one. So our question, we knew that this is one-shot system due to the cartridge that is included inside the piston accumulator. Exactly. We have seen this. We analyzed this together, even with you, Gustav. But the other point is, because here in Italy, buses will remain in service 15, even 20 years.
Yeah.
It's a good marketing point to say, with my system, you do nothing for 10 years. But the question is, what are you going to do after 10 years and 1 day? Because if you have to replace this complete system and it costs 2,000 euro, at this point, the total cost of ownership, comparing the replacement of one system brand new after 10 years, respect to making every 5 years revision of fog maker system, is much cheaper to follow our procedure. Even considering that inspecting after 5 years our system, you have the opportunity to remove any defects or any, let's say, any defect that has been generated during the service or during the original installation. So you have a double check. So this is something that need to be clearly analyzed during the life. And I have asked to several transit authority, even here in Verona. Verona has MAN with Vulcan, and we have asked them to make pressure on DAFO to understand what is necessary to do after 10 years, because this is the missing information that allow us to understand how sustainable is this product in terms of maintenance and services.
Yeah. Good point, and we will try to get more info about this. The life cycle cost, especially, is very interesting.
Carl has an additional question relating to Vulcan. He asks that regarding the DAFO Vulcan, does their own official information manual state that the cylinder needs exchange after deployment?
Okay.
I'm 99% sure that it does, but we need to look at it.
Yeah, but when they are talking about 10 years lifetime, does it mean that you can open and remove the liquid and put it back again, fresh liquid, or you need to replace the complete pressure accumulator? Because this pressure accumulators as a spare parts will cost probably 2,000 euros.
Yeah.
And at this point,
I think it's the liquid and the gas generator. But if you deploy it, you will destroy the internal side of the
Yeah,
cylinder.
but if you have to do this kind of operation, how much it costs to remove liquid and gas generator?
Yeah.
Because if it is going over, I mean, you know that our revision for our FogMaker system in Italy can cost 450 euro. So after 10 years, you spend 800, 900 euro. If their service after 10 years is higher than 1,000 euro, at this point is cheaper FogMaker.
It seems that in United States, where they have much stricter pressure directive with the DOT, they don't market the Forex standard cylinder with the propellant gas outside. So they only marketing this cylinder. So that's for the DOT issue. I'm not sure about South America, but for sure in North America, they only pushing this one. As you can see, also they have a smaller nozzles at the end, so they're getting a better pressure and probably a little bit longer discharge time.
Yeah.
Well, because our impression, knowing very well the DAFO distributor here in Italy, and Andreas knows very well Madame Rossi from Cedis, they are trying to gain market by promoting this 10 years lifetime. But I'm sure because they are not working for free, that after 10 years, they will go back and take all the money by selling spare cylinder at 2,000 euro each. And say, sorry, after 10 years, you have to replace the cylinder. There is no maintenance. And at this point, the client cannot replace the complete system from DAFO to FogMaker because they have already the system in place. And basically, they are forced to buy these new parts at their prices.
Yeah.
So
it's quite ridiculous to sell a cylinder for 10 years service in a bus. You don't know if you have leakage, and to check that you need to put it on a scale and on a calibrated scale, weight it or take off the cover or look inside. If you consider the portable extinguisher, you need to have an annual checkup. And that's quite easy. You can feel it, you can shake it and look at the pressure. But this one you need to take out and put on a calibrated scale. So it's not serious to sell a cylinder and put it into a vehicle and let it be there for 10 years and hopefully it works. So that should be the main argument against it.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree with you. And we have received this information from you and Lars in previous months. We have been using this, but unfortunately, transit authority sometime, especially during this time when they're facing financial problems, they need to save money. They look also to have product that has for 10 years no maintenance. Even if after 10 years and one day they have to maybe spend 2,000 euro. But okay, anyway, just to put this point on the table, just to share with us this information.
Yeah, thank you, Fausto. It's noted. So I will continue with the Ansel system. And as I mentioned, they are themselves phasing out the powder system for vehicles, recommending only the liquid agent one. And the info I found was that they have 3 sizes: 19 liter with 4 nozzles, 30 seconds emptying time, 57 and 114 liters with 10 and 20 nozzles with 60 seconds emptying time. So quite big systems. They do have different types of detection available. I think linear heat detection is the standard or the common one. And how it works, it's the same principle as DAFO mainly. But as they have high flow, low pressure, the number of nozzles are limited and require a proper installation. They can't add nozzles because it's affecting the flow of the remaining nozzles, for example. It's position dependent. You can't mount it upside down or lying, and you will only get the nitrogen out. And pros and cons then. Water-based agent, fluorine-free now. You will see we basically have this with big muscles if they want to. and some different choices for detection. So this is something we are looking into. The drawbacks, they need electricity to work. They are heavy, very heavy, and they don't have an R107 approval, but then the main segment is yellow machines or mining and tunneling or material handling. They do have their old powder system as well. We have DAFO. Skip through this. Works basically the same, but using powder instead. One thing that could be good to know is they use ABC powder, which is corrosive, especially in Sweden. And their third system is the twin agent system, which is basically the powder system and the liquid system combined. So you get the pros basically from both powder and liquid, but you also get twice the price. So basically, it's two systems.
It's overkill.
It can be overkill. This is used on big machines, open pit vehicles, for example.
Gustav, can I pose a question?
Of course.
Just I shared the extract out of the AS 6052 from comment. I forget the gentleman's name, but he was a product manager for Tyco, where they're stating that they are not promoting, not I use the word promoting as I suppose as close as possible with regards to the dry powder system anymore. Is that a fair comment from this guy? Is that what they're going to do? They're going to basically stop promoting the DCP system?
I don't know. I don't know more than you. That
okay.
The info I got was from the for a. But it looks like, because on their website they first system you get the system. So it looks like they are.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So Kidde, they are very secretive. It's very little information on their websites, but they do use, or they have the dry chemical powder system, of course, with linear heat detection and UV detection and other types of detection as well. Works basically the same as DAFO and Ansul. They activate the DCP container electrically when they have a detection. Pros and cons, they have PMARC approval, R107, AS5062, for example. The powder has, all powder systems usually have a good knockdown effect. But the drawback is that they don't cool anything, so there is always a risk for re-ignition. They have advanced detection, and it's a big company with big resources. Drawbacks are basically the same. Need for electricity, quite expensive, mainly because of their detection, I'm guessing. The components for the powder container isn't expensive, but the detection can be. And the risk of reignition, of course. The wet chemical system, same types of detection available. They use the AquaGreen XT, which contains PFAS chemicals. If they haven't done anything lately about this, it's a liquid containing salts similar as the FogMaker -35 liquid. And it looks like this one is coming back, which is interesting. Works the same as the powder system, electrically activated. and the liquid is released.
We don't have any information about deployment time.
No. They are. It's very difficult to find information on their website on data like that. But we know they have FM approval, advanced detection, big company. They don't seem to have a fluorine-free agent available, which is quite surprising for that type of big company.
Yeah, but just adding here, this is Kid Aerospace and it's for the military, so they're not so sensitive. But then they have Kid Senitel, which we have been kicking out from Harsco, but they are more or less pulling out from the civil side, and that might be one of the reasons.
Yeah.
But you should highlight here they got dual spec or triple spec IR detection, which is from the military, which they have as an advantage in some US market.
Yeah, good input. Moving on to Rotarex, the compact line system. So this system can use either loss of pressure detection as we do, or linear heat detection. They use liquid, temper, S-55, or Berkey cold as a 0-degree agent. Sizes 4, 7, and 12 liter is available. They do have a wireless alarm panel for faster installation when doing retrofits. And the linear heat detection and temper -55 seems to be the promoted options. I know they had or have had problems with the loss of pressure detection. And there are also higher service demands on that one. So how it works, it's a bit similar to FogMaker. When using loss of pressure, they use a detection tube, same as we, that bursts, and the pressure losses activates or opens a passage from this internal chamber, which is the nitrogen cylinder, 200 bars of pressure. And this is released through a pressure regulator to this chamber. You have a piston here. So the gas comes over on this side, moves the piston, pushing out the liquid. And because of the regulator, it's a fixed pressure at 35 bar. And they also have a second regulator to draw pressure from the nitrogen tank to the loss of pressure tube. And when the linear heat detection is used, they use electricity to activate the system. So pros and cons: compact design, only one container. They don't need electricity if they use loss of pressure, but they don't seem to promote it for some reason. They do have the wireless alarm panel. Good R107 performance, 4 liters, but 14 nozzles. They use fluorine-free agent. Temper S is not containing any PFAS chemicals. And temperature range from -30 to 80 Celsius degrees. The drawbacks, they are expensive, but we've seen that they can be very price aggressive as well, almost giving the system away to get market shares. The design is quite complicated. You have a lot of things that could go wrong, or leak or something like that. If they are using loss of pressure or detector tube, the tube needs to be changed every 4 years. They use a polyamide tube, which will not, it will be affected by ozone and heat, and yeah, it ages. One other point is that the agent tank needs to be inspected by DOT or CGA every 5 years. So that's a third-party inspection, which is quite interesting.
That's good. Just add, I met André Preus. They used to make Avails many years ago, and many years ago when they released this tank, the price of the tank were more or less the price of our kit, and then they can kick in sometimes, become quite aggressive. Another good thing is when the other competitors using loss of pressure, very common in Australia. They got it from Firetech, from Firetrace, which is no more or less gone in Europe, but also in UK they have a lot of it. As soon as there's a polyamide loss of pressure tube, the ambient temperature, which we have been facing, 100, 110 degrees Celsius, is starting to leak. Deterioration, as Gustav mentioned, is terrible. So that's a very hard life for them to be inside any compartment. The same for aerosols. So that's the two major points: the cost and cost of maintenance and the cylinder itself, but also the detection tube, because it's a polyamide, it's not suitable for modern engine compartment with the stage 5 or Euro 6 engine.
Yeah, thank you. So moving on to some upcoming competitors, and this is well, basically systems that we hear a lot of, but we don't see as much of it on the market. But who knows? In the future, there might be more of it. So we have the Protec Fire, their system Detex line, 4B for road vehicles or 4MC for off-road vehicles. And the only difference, as far as I can see, is a manual actuator for the 4MC system. So this system uses a heat-sensitive spot sensor, which you see here. And yeah, liquid-based agent, sizes 4, 7, 14, and 24 liters available. I'm not sure if the 24 is still available, but these should be. They also do systems for kitchens, wind power, electric cabinets, and other, and using Novec system in that case. So how it works, it's quite interesting design. The spot sensors, they are heat sensitive, they have a glass bulb, and when this glass bulb breaks because of heat, it releases a small gas cartridge into the distribution system. So you have the detector here, it detects a fire, it breaks, opens a pressure or a gas cartridge, and releases the gas into the pipe system, going back to the cylinder. And when it reaches the cylinder, it breaks a membrane of some kind, and the liquid is, the passage to the liquid is opened, and the liquid will come same way out through the nozzles. They use liquid, either Tibor-X Absolute, or which is fluorine-free, or they used to use Musil from Stammer. I don't think they use this anymore since it contains fluoride. They use a stainless steel tank, and it's a bladder inside, so it's a position-independent system. The pressure upon release is 20 bar, so not very high. And the component you see here is the bladder. So this is screwed in from this side and expands outwards to push out the liquid. So pros and cons for this system. They don't need electricity. It's position independent, same as FogMaker. Quite good R107 results, 5 liters, but they used 17 nozzles, of which 9 nozzles were flat. So it looks like they were trying to pass the test without thinking of the real deal. I don't see any reason to put flat nozzles inside a bus engine compartment, for example.
Is to go between the pipes.
Exactly, yeah, to pass the tests and nothing more. They have fluorine-free agent. They claim themselves that it is easy to install, 3 hours for a bus. Temperature range from -30 to +80. quite compact design, only one container. But then the drawbacks, they use spot sensors, and it's very difficult to cover an engine compartment where you have airflow, for example, and lots of different components. To cover those with spot sensors, you can get a fire over here, and this won't detect it if you have an airflow coming that way. This is also a one-shot system. For when it's activated, it needs to be replaced, and also after 10 years, the whole system is to be scrapped and replaced. So the life cycle cost for a Boss, for example, that might be rolling for 20 years is high. So that's the Protec Fire. Another newcomer is Ultrafog. Quite interesting system. They popped up a couple of months ago, I think. Fausto from Ofira tipped us off on this system. So they use loss of pressure, liquid-based agent, 110 bar pressure, very similar to FogMaker. They have sizes 9.8 and 15 liter available at the moment. And this is a system aimed for vehicles, mainly buses, also machines and trains. And it's very obvious that they have taken a lot of inspiration from FogMaker and some from DAFO as well. So how it works, it's basically the same as FogMaker, or almost exactly the same. A piston inside, gas on one side, liquid on the other, loss of pressure, and also possibility for manual or electrical actuation. The pros, same as FogMaker, no need for electricity. They are R107 approved. I haven't been able to find the certificate to check how many liters and how many nozzles they needed, but I'm looking. They use temper -30, which is fluorine free, or water, which is of course also fluorine free. Quite compact design, only one container. And this is one of the drawbacks. Actually, they pressurize the detector tube from the piston accumulator with some type of regulator, and since they seem to be using liquid in the detector tube, and this can cause trouble if you have high differences in ambient temperature. There is a risk that the tube will increase and increase in pressure and eventually burst. But I'm not sure if they have a solution for this, but it's interesting. They have a lot of possible leak points, and this is a new system, so I'm guessing they will run into some troubles eventually. The temperature range is -30 to only 55 Celsius, which is interesting. And another major drawback is they might have a possible patent infringement. They have basically copied our FogMaker nozzle, or the shape of it, and that's a patent solution. So we are looking into this. They also have a different nozzle, which is basically copied from DAFO. And I'm not sure if they have a patent for it, but
A little bit from there, a little bit from us.
yeah, exactly.
There you go.
They took the good parts and made their own system.
Where are they from? Ultrafog?
Ultrafog is
Company. They acquired a Swedish company, Ultrafog, which was the forerunner for high pressure water mist into big ships. And then Marioff took the second mouse, took the cheese, and then Ultrafog been sold to this Italian guy. As I heard just a few weeks ago, it was a lot of cruising ships in Caribbean with problems with the O-rings from Marioff. So this company, they took the second chance. And to give you an idea, in one cruising ships, you can have 9 to up to 15,000 nozzles, multi-nozzles, making one nozzle for a cabin. So they took that deal, earned a lot of money, and for that revenue, they invested heavily in a lot of kind of different businesses. By the way, they built up their own fire laboratory in Poland. It's an entrepreneur-driven guy, Jacobi from Italy, which are all over the place. But I think they're not used to have the kind of competition and the setup you need for vehicles in smaller scale. They're used to larger projects. But for sure, they have earned money from the cruising ship business, and they're investing it in a lot of different kind of segments.
Thank you. So moving on to Firedect. Also a quite different system compared to the others. They also use spot sensors for fire detection, but they could also use other types, linear heat detection or smoke detectors and so on. They use a liquid-based agent, and they have a separate nitrogen bottle with a regulator. And the only size I found is 7 liter. Works basically the same as FogMaker, but with linear heat detection then. I don't think it should say FogMaker here. It should probably say DAFO. See, all this picture is wrong. I have to correct this one. So don't mind the text. They have the nitrogen bottle, which activates electrically when they get a fire detected. The nitrogen is released through the regulator to the water tank or agent tank. Pressurize this, and the liquid goes out through the distribution system.
Won't be a lot of pressure.
I haven't found which type of pressures they use, but I don't think this one is probably a high pressure cylinder. But since they use a regulator, I'm guessing maybe 30 bars or something. Pros and cons with Firedect. They have an R107 approval. They use temper. They need electricity. They have spot sensors with the drawbacks of that. Difficult to cover an engine compartment with spot sensors. They also have a possible patent infringement. This is a Firedect nozzles, and as you see, it's very similar to FogMaker. We did a internal also keeping an eye on this, and thanks to Ophira once again for tipping us off on this one. Yeah, and only one size for the agent container. And the last slide, I think, aerosol generators. We see and hear from these types of systems from time to time. There are quite a lot of different manufacturers. We have Firecon, FirePro, Dynameco, Yamaha, Salgom, and probably many more, and branded version of the same. And these are low price systems, and some of them have been able to pass the R107, which is quite strange. Quite easy to install, but many drawbacks. They have no cooling. On the opposite, they heat up the protected compartment even more, since this is a chemical reaction. They put out an inert smoke, basically. Quite poor performance. The one that I've seen that passed R107 required at minimum 7 units. These types, these round units or squared ones. If you look close on them, most of them, or at least the ones that have a UL approval, will state maximum 54 Celsius degrees. And as you know, our engine compartment is usually much higher than that. So they are not suitable for engine compartments. And this is, of course, also a one-shot system. Once it's activated, it needs to be replaced. And yeah, generally not a very good system, bad performance.
May I add something? Can go back in. We just lost 240 something buses at Rheinbahn in Germany of V-Trucks, and V-Trucks are just labeling Salgro.
So second,
V-Trucks, they're putting their own label and they put 95 degrees Celsius. The manufacturer Salgrom, I just got the data sheet from Christian. It's 55 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
So they're really cheating, because if you got UL certified or some decent manufacturer, they used to be around ambient temperature 55, and that's because the igniter will deteriorate. If it's warmer, it will not be good. So they have some kind of market and existence right in the civil yacht business, where you have much cooler engine compartment. But to put them in a bus, we will easily reach 100, 110 degrees Celsius. So they're just cheating. The same with this Firecom from Italy.
Yes.
And luckily, or how should I say, they sold also some retrofits to Zurich. And we heard from Volvo, we had a fire there, we were not involved. And they just told us it was a Finnish-made aerosol. So they had a loss recently in Zurich in a Volvo bus. So if you see them, let us know, and we have to push back to the customers and really inform that they have been often they've been cheated. They sold for the Rheinbahn price of 700 euros, 240 buses, not even detection, just deploy the system. So
Yes,
it's really crap they are selling into the market.
Andreas, may I tell you about our experience here in Italy with Firecom that started 7-8 years ago? We had the same problem with the temperature that was on the label of Firecom, that originally, before being the supplier in the bus segments, they had like 55, 58, 60. When we highlight this to clients, and clients asked to Firecom the reason why they were putting this system in the engine compartment, they change only the label and they put 110 on the same product. Second experience. Here you can see that for ECR 110 you need maybe to install 4, 5, 6 systems or units. We had the same problem 8 years ago with the Iveco. Firecom has said, okay, 1 unit, 500 grams for the engine compartment is more than sufficient. Then they had some fires and they came back and they said, no, we need to put 2 of them. Then they made the ECR 107, they put 5 of them. So so basically they don't have a clear idea how it's working fire in the engine compartments.
Yeah. In September, we met Egon Harrig because they're supplying the detection to Liebherr mobile harbor cranes, and they got the Fire Pro, which is one of the largest manufacturers in the world, and they got 107 approval, but by using 7 different smaller aerosol cylinders or aerosol generators in serial connection, and they told us the price being 2,000 euros, so they pulled out the business. It was too expensive. So the serious one, like Fire Pro, they understand they can't sell it, but then there are some not serious. They have exactly the same kind of product with the same setup, and so you just need to highlight to the end customers what they're really having and explaining for them that they're not suitable for a modern engine compartment.
And then I have another information going through some documentation we found on the website of Firecom. We found that at the beginning, they were promoting their product like 10 years without maintenance, okay? And in order to prove this, they were publishing an aging test, where the aging test was made by putting the unit for, I think, 3 or 4 weeks at 100 degrees C, and that was equivalent for them to 10 years of lifetime. And so when we approached some transit authority, we said, so if it is going to, if 4 weeks at 100 C is 10 years, so basically you have to replace the unit in the engine compartment every month. Yeah. Because if you use a CNG engine or a diesel engine today, 100 C can be during summertime in June, July, August, September. In Rome or in Milano can be a daily condition. It cannot be so basically they don't have any idea how is an engine compartment.
Yeah, also I see here on the Salgrom, which is one of the more serious one, they have IP55, which means they put them at the rear of the engine. If you have a high pressure cleaning, IP55 will not be suitable. They will get some
Exactly.
humidity inside, and then I think you have corrosive, aggressive. A lot of things could happen there. So there are several reasons. They are sold very cheap. Could be accepted maybe in boats or confined spaces. I heard from Statex sold to wind power turbines with fog tape involved, and I put them in the electrical cabinets. And they told frankly they were creating more problem than they solved, because keep in mind it's 1200 degrees Celsius during this combustion process. And they're using them in gas buses. And in that case, if you activate them manually, you can even create the fire. If you have a gas leakage and you start in this light, you will create the fire. You spark it. So it's very strange. They're still promoting them.
Yeah, I think most of them are having troubles with the R107 certification. So hopefully we will see less of them in the future.
Yep.
Okay, so that's my last slide. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry for taking too much time. But if you have any questions, feel free to send them to me by email or phone me or write them in the chat now or speak up.
There are no questions.
Okay. So, thank you for listening.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Arrivederci. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Adios.
Adios.
Modomo.